Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary DeVos, General, thank you for your service to our country. It's not often said enough that people like you have given a lot to this country and continue to do so. We appreciate you being here today, and we appreciate your service. I'm going to ask some questions about oversight, and I'm going to direct them to the Secretary, but General, if it's something that you need to be the one to answer to, just feel free to jump in. Let's just begin with the basics. Do you believe in the need for congressional oversight?
I do, Congressman.
Well, I think your presence here today proves that, but I wanted you to be on the record to say that you believe in it. Have you informed your staff of the need to be responsive to Congress to help us do our job?
Indeed, I have. I am very keen on making sure we are responsive and have repeatedly directed all of my team that we must be, and we must do so in timely fashions.
And how do you follow up with them to make sure that they're doing that?
Have a regular reporting relationships depending on the area and the department, and with respect to the issue that we just talked about, I get daily reports on how those claims have been restored back to their standing that they should be in forbearance, and we are continuing to have regular dialogue and updates on those. And General Brown, did you want to?
Yes, sir. I can provide you one example of those daily reports on Exhibit 7. We are asked for all of those students that had some element of error that were involved in the Manriguez case when they were erroneously put out, taken out of forbearance and perhaps billed. Since that time, we have done daily reports on each one of those cases. This is not a report that we created for this committee. In fact, it's 2 days old. It talks about 0.5 or so % of those cases having not been remediated, and today that's actually less than 30 of those cases that have not been remediated. We are responsible for giving that report to the Secretary each day, and even if it's at 99.5%, we won't be through doing that daily report until it's 100%, meaning every particular person, specific person, that had any element of harm done to them has been corrected. So if they had a Treasury offset, like I heard earlier in the statement, that the Treasury would have had to refund that money for us to put them in a remediated status. And that's one way that we provide oversight of this process and then responsiveness to the Secretary's request.
Well, thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you for providing that to us. Now, I know you get multiple requests from the same member or several members of Congress. How do you prioritize requests when you get multiple ones from the same member? And what kind of communication do you have in place to ensure that your staff is still able to meet the standard for response that you set?
Well, our prioritization is really based on responsiveness in general, and we try to be able to respond within 30 days of receipt of one of those requests. Sometimes it has to go longer than that, depending on the volume of material requested and required. But we are very focused on ensuring that we continue to work through these issues as promptly as we possibly can.
And I think you've already said this, but you remind me, what is your response rate to Congress since you've taken office?
95%.
Pretty good. Some of us would like to have that rate with our constituents, I might say. Is there a different standard for oversight in the Federal Student Aid Office and in other offices at the department?
No, we have high expectations for ourselves across the board.
And General, this may be for you. How does the FSA balance the request for data and information with the need to get your job running the loan program done?
Thank you, Congressman. Our desire is to answer all correspondence within 30 days. However, I will tell you that those that are very data-centric, that require special pulls from what is 11 loan servicers across the country, often will require more time because that data simply doesn't exist in the systems that we are working to reform. But for most data requests, we try to do those within 30 days.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your hard work at trying to be responsive to Congress, and thank you for your professionalism and for understanding that the taxpayers' money is precious and that we have a responsibility, all of us, including those of us in Congress, to safeguard that money. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.